I've got one of the hottest new brands in the recruitment space in franchising and one of the best developers in North America. You're not going to miss this one.
This is the Franchise Pitfalls and Profit Show. Each week, we bring you the challenges and triumphs of being in the franchise development and consulting business. The things you need to make money faster. And now your host, one of the most successful franchise developers in North America, Don Shin.
Hey, I've got Christian Saab with me. He's the owner of CPG Recruitment, one of the hottest brands in the marketplace right now in North America. So we were lucky to catch him. He's a tough guy to get to sit down. So I've nailed his foot to the floor, and we're gonna chat with Christian over the next couple of minutes. His organization literally helps companies find the staff that they can't find in any other way. And they're now, having turned this into a franchise over the last couple of years, they're now helping entrepreneurs get into the recruitment business. So welcome, Christian.
Thank you for having me, Don. I appreciate you.
You bet. You bet. So, hey, I'd like to dive in. First question, and you and I have been talking. We met, probably a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. Started about working together. We are doing a little bit of work together today. So we're excited about being part of your growth in North America. But let's go back, when because you're a very different company than you were 2 years or so ago. So what was your vision when you first started contemplating franchising, and how's all of that gone? Because, we have a lot of people that watch my episodes, watch our podcast, and they're thinking of turning their business into a franchise. So you've been through that over the last couple of years. So what was the vision, and how has that been going? How did that all come about?
Well, the idea all came from a customer service, customer experience problem solution that I had. I realized when I started the company that we were excelling very quickly, and our customers enjoyed working with us simply because they were working with me, an owner. I'm sitting at the table with another owner. It's an entrepreneur to an entrepreneur having a discussion. And when we win their business, me as an owner, they're a customer of mine. It means a lot to me versus where my competitors, they were sending, sales associates and sales reps, and the owners were not very involved. So they felt more transactional, where a salesperson was just trying to close a deal, where when dealing with me, we were working together and it felt like a partnership. So I started thinking of the direction, it was inevitable for me the day I want to have, CPG to be hundreds of locations. And that was always from day one. But I said to myself, the bigger we get, the more locations I have, the more sales associates I have. Eventually I'll become like my competitors and I'll lose that touch. So I said, well, how do I maintain good customer success and good customer experience? Franchising was a solution that now, if I were to have 200 locations, they would be owned by owners, and they would put in that same element of care to their customers because it's their business and their customers matter. So franchising was a solution for me to maintain and have over the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, incredible customer experience compared to my competitors. But with that said, now it's evolved. Franchising has now evolved into a whole different thing. Now we've fixed that problem, and now we're opening more locations, and we want to take those franchisees and make them as succcial as us.
That's an awesome differentiation. I don't think a lot of people really understand that unless you own a business yourself. I maybe it's a little arrogance on my part, but I agree 100% with you from the standpoint of I like to deal with the owner of another business. I don't like to deal with somebody in between. And so you've really captured something about working with small and medium-sized business owners. They want to work with the decision makers, and your model now offers them that ability from a recruiting industry standpoint. That's awesome. So again, I know where you were, say two or so years ago when we were first meeting, and I know where you are today. So can you share a little bit about that whole journey of now turning, you had turned your business into a franchise because you were a franchisor when we first met, but as you had said to me, you really weren't ready to go into the market. So talk to me about how did you realize that, And then why did you not just kind of barge in? Because honestly, that's what a lot of people do.
Yeah. Well, I have an engineering background, and processes and procedures and root cause analysis is my forte. That's what I specialize in. And I think as sometimes my ambition gets ahead of me, and 2 years ago, it's like, yeah, we could do this and we could do it today. But then I realized, as we talk to more people, more time, there has to be infrastructure. We can't just bring anyone in and tell them, well, this is our business and you could do it too. And that's it. Like, there had to be a step by step, just like how when I was working as an engineer in one of the largest car manufacturers in the world, and we're working in a facility that's making 1,500 cars a day. It has to be the human element, the human room for error has to be removed. So we decided, you know what, how can we bring someone through a system that if they start our system and then end it, the element of human is removed, and you can really streamline a process to prepare someone who's extremely green and doesn't know anything, that by the time they go through it, they fully understand this business, this model, this industry, how we help our customers, how we take care of them, the resources that they'll have. And we had to spend a lot of time building out those procedures, that it is now a streamlined process. So what we've taken from what it was before 2 years ago, which was probably, a 6-month onboarding. Now, if you were to join our company today, in 1 month exactly, you will be fully ready to launch your business and have the open sign in a process.
That's awesome. And that is the downfall. There, some people, you hear about these franchises that are growing, 50, 100 units a year for a couple of years. That infrastructure is clearly their Achilles heel. And so, again, for our listeners, as you know, some of our viewers, our listeners are people who want to get into business for themselves through the franchise model. They're come to our show to find some new things that are coming onto the market. And I will tell that section of my audience that, hey, this is a guy that has some standards and some integrity, and this is a brand now that is structured to grow, that buyers can have confidence that you know what you're doing now, and you've got the structure. So that's really, really awesome.
We've definitely we've built our system that it could sustain opening one location a week if we really wanted to. That's how much our system one person a week can be brought into the system and onboarded. For sure, it could handle that kind of volume.
The other thing too that you're able to now do is, and I don't know what I'll ask you what your thoughts are on this, but I always tell folks that we help in the business for themselves. I always tell them that franchising actually allows them to maybe change industries, get into something different. That because of what you just said, the structure, the guidance, the training, the preparation that the franchisor does for you. That's not a question I've often asked, but what are your thoughts about that? Are you good with people coming into this field that maybe don't have a recruiting background?
Absolutely. I didn't have a recruiting background. I was an engineer and I owned a car wash. And everyone on our team, no one came from a recruiting background.
Awesome.
The entire company, our Edmonton location, she was a dental hygienist. Our Boise, Idaho location and our London location were actually franchise brokers. And, our team down in Houston, they're engineers. And, everybody, the beauty about this industry is that the problem is so big that when you get into it and you meet the right company that just needs help finding staff, it's very easy to teach someone how to do it. And that's what we've built here. We've built a model that's very good at finding people. And once we teach you how to recruit, once we teach you how we solve the problems for our customers, it's very straightforward. And you could be from any industry. And as a matter of fact, what I do like to say is whatever industry people come from, the beauty about the recruitment industry is that every industry is hiring. Yeah. If you had a manufacturing background and have a bunch of contacts there, and you could have been an engineer or a vice president or whatever, well, they're hiring. Or if you came from the healthcare space or the food space, every industry is hiring. That now it's just a different conversation that you're having with the people that you've built a network around over the years.
And you're not a staffing agency, right? I know. I can envision, because we've had candidates come through our broker side of our company, and I can envision them saying, I don't want to be chasing down, $15 an hour jobs and that kind of stuff. And you guys are what I would think more purely recruiters, not a staffing agency, right?
There's a big difference between recruitment and staffing. Everyone kind of buckets them all together, but with the key difference is not so much, yes, at the end of the day, you're going to have a company that needs staff, and whether you're a recruiter or a staffing agency, you're finding them staff. It's the same thing. However, the financial model and the business model is 100% different.
Yeah.
A staffing agency, every employee they ever employ actually belongs to the staffing agency. So the staffing agency has to do payroll. Doing payroll for 1,000 employees a month is not easy, right?
Right,
You have to have the infrastructure for that. And you also have to have the bankroll to support that payroll. And on top of that, you're going to have a really large insurance policy as well, because when someone gets injured at work, well, they're your employees as a staffing agency. So it's a totally different business model. There's a time and place for it. And where for us as a recruitment industry, all we're doing is getting paid for the help that we're providing these businesses to find their staff. So find you a person, you hire them full time, they're your staff. We send you an invoice for the work that we did. See you later.
Yep. So simpler model, which is always, I think, great in franchising, easier to get into it because of not the dynamics of the payroll and having to have the backing and the money for payroll. So let's get back to okay, you're in franchising now, and but you've been a franchisor for a couple of years, but you didn't really go to market. But now that you're in the marketplace, what's one of your biggest challenges right now? Anything that's really anything that's going on in the business, and did you anticipate it or were you surprised?
Challenges in specific to our business and what we're doing, or more so the franchising side?
Probably in the franchising space, more so in the franchising space.
You know what? It's the position being an emerging brand, we've got our obstacles getting more people to know about us, right? We have obviously our direct competitor has 900 locations and has been here for 40 years, and they have a totally different problem than what we do, right? So it's just like, for us, it's that constant awareness, and I think it gets easier over time as we have success stories, if the word gets out there, and as I'm sure it'll get easier when we have 50 locations, and it'll get even easier when we're at 100 or 200. So right now it's just a matter of getting in front of the right brokers that just believe in what we are doing and understand what we're doing, and understand that this truly is a model that, we don't want to make it hard on someone when they're starting a business. Starting a business alone is hard enough. That's why, we have a lower franchise fee than normal. That's why we have very low ongoing costs. That's what we don't want the financial burden to put pressure on you. We just want you to kind of join our team and start growing and winning, right? But just getting that message out.
That's why we're excited. That's why we're excited about working with you. And I think it really does. It does fit what people are looking for. Simple models, not expensive to get into. So tell me about a highlight. I just asked you about challenges. Give me a highlight. Now that you've been in franchising, you're actually going to market. You've got some franchisees in place. Give me a highlight or a success since you've been franchising.
We officially started selling just a little bit over a year ago. We're about a year and 3-4 months in. And in that year, we were able to sell 5 locations, which from what I didn't realize, that's something that isn't usually achievable. I've always heard that, some companies, they struggle to sell their first one in 1 year, and we did 5. And we just sold a Florida location, and that's going to be coming soon within the next month. So there's a location number 6, and I've always wanted to be in Florida. So I'm very, very excited to launch that office. And we are opening a Toronto office as well. So growth is definitely not just in our name, but it's actually happening, right? So yes, we're with the right people. We're growing with the right people. And I'll be honest as well, I'll throw you a bone there. We've been enjoying working with your company as well to help us meet these next franchise brokers. You've been a perfect fit with us, and I've been enjoying working with you. So I'll throw you as a highlight as well.
We appreciate that. Now as in our conversations, we're kind of what I would call a mini FSO or franchise sales organization. We're much more engaged with our clientele, I think, than again back the FSAs or FSOs are very much you got a sales guy that works your account
Yeah.
We're much more engaged, and yet we'll do different things. We have very, very strong ties in the broker community. That's, again, for the listeners, the watchers, viewers. That's what we're doing with Christian. We're working to get better penetration and visibility into the brokers, or we can do it from A to Z. If an owner like Christian doesn't want to fully get involved in all the nonsense you have to do with leads and chasing down leads and people ghosting you and all of that stuff. So we can do a piece, or we can do it all. But thank you. I do appreciate that. Always like to talk about, again, because we have people looking to buy franchises. We also have a lot of brokers or consultants doing placements. And so I like to get into who you're looking for. Who's your ideal candidate. When you're out there recruiting, who are you looking for? Who do you think would do really well in this business?
So to work it backwards, at the end of the day, our customers are businesses. The people that are paying the invoices that we send out are companies, and we're not consumer based. We don't sell $100 cell phones or something like that every single day. Like we're a high ticket item, and we are working with businesses at the end of the day. So the right person for us is someone with an experienced B2B background, B2B sales background. Again, the beauty of our opportunity is we don't want the owners to become the recruiters. We've designed this model that their lifestyle is develop your business, be an owner, hang out with your customers and go get them, right? Be the networker. So B2B sales or B2B experience is very, very, very important, because they will do extremely well because it's the nature of our business. And to really summarize of exactly what we do is we meet companies that need help finding staff. And that's the critical element. Piece number one is to meet companies, right? And the more experience they have in that space, the better off and the more successful they'll be.
Awesome. So now you had, I know because you're a client of ours, so I know a lot of the inside stuff, but that's good. That's good for our time together. You told me that again, from the ease of starting this business, because I know, one of the questions I always get when I was a master franchisee, when I was a franchisor, as well as even as a consultant, always get the question of, well, how does one get my clients in this space? If I started business XYZ, how do I get the clients? And you had shared some pretty unique stuff to me about leveraging, you even starting out, maybe leveraging an industry that somebody's already in. If they're in pharmaceutical, maybe they leverage that pharmaceutical. So can you build on that a little bit, or can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Obviously we're always asking the question, even in my office, how do we get the next client? How do we get them in what industry? Right. And, for us, it's, between the 6 offices, there's a lot of positions already there. So someone already starting with us, we've got work for them to do right off the bat. But from there, it's a lot of development to get out there and you go get your own customers on top of the leads that we give you as well. Right. So it's kind of the classic of, I could take you to the pond, but you gotta finish it, right? You gotta drink. So we've got so many avenues, and I really want to simplify this for people. Whoever is watching this, take a look around you and see who's hiring. Go on Indeed and look in your area how many job postings there are open literally today, and you'll see thousands. This isn't something that's so difficult to do. Just look around you and it's there. And as you're driving around and looking around the city that you're in, you're going to see how much opportunity there is because of the number of people they're hiring. So it's definitely not something that's extremely difficult. Our first customer, when I first started this company 4 years ago, get the papers, I got my LLC, and I go to get my first customer 2 weeks after having my paperwork. They were right next door to us. It was a landscaping company right next door to us. Wow. We didn't have to go far. And that customer, their first invoice was $36,000.
Wow.
Wow. It's just, all I did is walk in and say, hey, nice to meet you. I heard you're hiring. I'm your new neighbor. I want to talk. Right. So just look around you and see how fruitful this industry is, because everybody's always looking for staff, and it's just a matter of finding the right companies that you could partner with to help them find the people that they need.
Yeah, and I mean, again, for listeners, and Christian knows this, but I think right now has got to be one of the best times to get into the recruitment business. Just the way the economy has been, the way employment's been, unemployment rates, and so forth. All right, I've got two more questions. You mentioned, I know you're in Canada, so the audience doesn't know you're headquartered in Canada, but you're expanding obviously into the U.S. You mentioned Idaho or Iowa.
Yep, Idaho.
Idaho.
Yeah.
You mentioned London, so rarely do I get to talk to emerging brands that are truly global or international. So, any comment on that? Any plans? Specific plans to grow outside of North America? Or I know you said that was a broker in the UK. Any plans to go?
I would have had to clarify. It's London, Ontario. London, Ontario,
okay.
Canada. But that said, though, to actually answer the question, staffing is actually huge in London, England. I see it all the time. It is, but yes, this is London, Ontario. But you know what? With us, I do want to be global. I can 100% see it, and let's just take over a little bit more in Canada and the U.S., and then we'll see how far things will go there.
That's too funny.
Yeah, London, Ontario, and we're from Windsor, Ontario, which is also a city in England. But we are a border city. For those people that don't know where Windsor is, it's right across from Detroit. Detroit is a 5-minute drive from me, so it was just perfect for us to grow on both sides of the border.
Yeah, and again, for the viewers, it's very unusual even for emerging brands to be in Canada or to be outside of the U.S. So, so that again, for consultants, for brokers, that offers unique opportunities that a lot of emerging brands don't offer. So that's awesome. Okay, we're wrapping up. Last question I always ask everybody is, in closing, is there anything that that we haven't talked about? Anything I haven't asked? Anything you wanted to leave with viewers, with listeners? Totally blank sheet. You can say whatever you want, but I always give my my guests an opportunity to have one final thought or comment that they wanted to be sure they got out today. So anything like that you want to share, Christian?
I've since day one of starting this business, failure is not an option. We are a team that is filled with so many talents, and we like breaking things. We like when things don't go right, because it means we're trying hard enough. And that's, I think that's a testament to, 3 years ago, it was just 3-4 years ago, it was just an idea. And then now, we have a head office, we've got 5 locations, we've got total in our organization about 23 people, and we're opening 2 offices. Right by the end of this month, we'll be another 29 people. So, and that's because we are all in, both emotionally, physically, and in every aspect. So I think anyone who's going to consider joining us, they know they're going to be joining a team where the mindset is failure is not an option, and we'll do whatever it takes, no matter what, to make them successful. And we'll go above and beyond, because that's our name. That's on that paper, and we need everyone to win. So that's just our mindset going into it. With that, there'll always be new obstacles. There'll always be, as times change, there's always going to be new problems to solve. But our mindset is always, how do we fix them and how do we win at the end of the day? So awesome. It's a passionate team that you'll be joining.
Yep, and I can tell my fellow consultants and brokers, Christian does know his stuff. He'll take care of your candidates. And he's a very, very strong closer. So you can have confidence your referrals will be well taken care of. But you'll also make some money referring to Christian. So, hey, Christian, I appreciate you, and thanks for being my guest. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Don.